Hello and welcome to the Sideboard here at the Open Series in Atlanta, featuring the Invitational. I'm Glenn Jones, and I'm here with Dave Thomas.
How's it going?
Dave, you're currently in the Legacy, but we've gone ahead and laid out your standard deck here because it's pretty interesting. I know that when I found you in the room, you said it harkened back to David McDarby's Solar Flare style deck from, I believe, the DC Standard Open. But you've definitely taken it a completely new direction. As we can see in the top corner here, we've got Boros Reckoners kicking things right off. So what was the incentive to add red to that deck?
I really dislike not having the cheat removal, and I felt like Gristlebrand really wasn't that good of a trump. I like casting Sphinx's Revelation, getting Angel, but there's lots of spot removal. It's not Thought Scour and Forbidden Alchemy aren't reliable on putting them in your graveyard. 3 Lilianas, there's a lot of Lilianas. There were lots of things I wanted to change. I also didn't like getting back Augur Bolus. Like, if I'm turn 4 in Angel Serenity, I don't want to have to get back 2 Augur Bolus and kill their dude. I mean, it's still value, but I'd rather get back a better creature.
Like Boros Reckoner.
Yeah. I also ran into a lot of problems with junk rights with McDarby's list because they were just doing it.
The same thing, but better.
Yeah. I kept having problems with Drag Tusk.
That's a very real danger, obviously, in deck building. You don't want to be doing something just worse than someone else. Boros Reckoner is a great trump against Drag Tusks, of course.
Yeah, it's really good against the Naya Blitz decks, too. So.
Yeah. So in this deck, you've also added access to some pretty impressive burnout potential, I would say. You've obviously got Reckoner Blasphemous Act as a thing you can do, and with a Snapcaster Mage to be able to find, it's not even that hard. But you also have Gisela and Thundermaw Hellkite up top as beat sticks.
Thundermaw Hellkite, the deck has a real problem with dealing with Planeswalkers, and he kills them almost all of them instantly if they've hit the board. He also is a trump if they have Angels. He clears the way for your Angels to kill. So he's a utility card.
Keeps the board from breaking down into a stalemate, especially. And Gisela, I imagine she can push through for damage sometimes, but she seems more of like almost a combo finish.
Yeah, she functions like Elishnorn a lot too. Sometimes you just turn 4 and they just can't beat her. I mean, she attacks for 10.
Yeah.
So.
One of the gains you have in red, in addition to Pillar of Flame, you've added Desperate Ravings as a discard outlet and card advantage spell. Yeah. I think that most people are okay with the idea of Desperate Ravings basically being like mostly better than Think Twice, as long as you don't care about the cards in your hand that much. But in this deck, you obviously have a lot of upside going for it. Have you been able to, do you manufacture the discard really intently, or are you trying to like get down to you only have cards you want to discard? Or
It's the point where, like, the reason I only have 3 is because there were a lot of times where I would have a Sphinx's Revelation in hand, and then maybe a land, and I couldn't flashback Desperate Ravings. So originally the deck was like this, but it turned out this was much more necessary because, like, this is awesome on turn 2, but in turn 2 and turn 3. But the later the game goes, I don't want to be doing this with all my lands to play because I'm going to put my lands to play so I can Sphinx's Revelation for a bunch. I also want to cast Angel Serenities and Gisela.
Sure, that makes plenty of sense. One of the concessions you had to make with your mana base, you obviously all of your lands can cast Boros Reckoner. That's in and of itself pretty tricky. So, how did you start building the deck? Did you start off on like 12 shocks, 12 buddies, and then just sort of like trim around?
There are 26 lands in the deck. It's actually 13 shocks and 13 lands. The number of shocks and the number of untapped lands is just what I like. 13. I've played it before. I would prefer 12 shocks and 14 untapped lands, but the untapped lands I would want to play aren't. I can't sub to match the color scheme.
Okay.
So I would like to have another isolated chapel instead of a Godless Shrine, but
you can't play a 5th isolated chapel.
So it's small things, so it's not really that big of a deal. It does give me more untapped lands though. On turn 1, like playing the Godless Shrine is not a big deal, but like going Godless Shrine into the
Clifftop Retreat.
Yeah, allows me to Ravings or Godless Shrine into Glacial can set up a Sword's Charm. So there is benefit to having.
Sure, it's just a little trickier than you might like. And I guess that kind of precludes you being able to run things like, a Desperate Lighthouse or a Nephalia Giant or anything like that.
I would like to play Lighthouse, but there's just no room. Especially when you're trying to play this guy on turn 3 consistently.
That makes sense. Moving on to your sideboard, mostly some conventional smattering of blue and white cards that we've come to expect, such as the 4th Supreme Verdict, Negates, Pillars, Counterflux. But you also have some interesting ones. I know you said Slaughter Games was a heavy incentive to even be playing this deck in the first place.
Yeah, like one of the worst matchups is Esper Control, and one of the best ways to deal with their deck is just to take out their card advantage with Jace or Sphinx's Revelation. Slaughter Games does that. I want to find one as fast as possible. I want to turn 4 that card.
Yeah.
Same thing against against Junk Reanimator. I can't obviously play traditional hit cards like Grafdigger's Cage or Rest in Peace against them because it hurts me as well.
Sure.
But Slaughter Games just tears apart their deck. So if I Slaughter Games them twice, I can usually take advantage, especially if we start to get into Reanimate War. If I take their Thragtusts and Angel Serenities from them, or their Angel Serenities and Crater Behemoths, then I can just trump every one of their creatures in play.
Right, there's nothing they can do at that point. And with Gisela around, even Crater Hoof Behemoth can not always be enough. Okay, and you've also got an Evil Twin. You have one main, one side. That card's been going up in stock a lot. I think most people are familiar with it now from the Esper sideboards, and it's just started to find its way into other decks. You can also do some pretty cute things with, twinning a Hellkite to get someone in the face pretty hard, which is very adorable. But you also have 3 Pithing Needles. What are the Pithing Needles naming? When do you bring those in?
They're Planeswalker cards. It's for the Esper matchup because I can't name Drown Yard with Slaughter Games and follow your Drown Yard. When you're Forbidden Alchemy and Sphinx's Revelation, you mill yourself pretty fast, so it's not hard for them to finish you off. So Needle's a consistent way to stop that. It also hits their Planeswalkers, so you can name Jace after the fact. But against Jund, the only way I could really lose that matchup was the Planeswalkers. And Kessig Wolfrun. So it's a good out to that. So it's better than Witchbane Orb in the fact that it's more flexible.
Okay.
Because Witchbane Orb was more for the Slaughter Games, Rakdos Return, Drown Yard things, but it doesn't stop Planeswalkers. But Pithing Needle stops Planeswalkers and the spell lands, and I'm more wary of those than I am of getting Rakdos Return, because I've been Rakdos Return for 4 and come back when you have a graveyard.
With all of the flashback that you have available, it's very easy. And post-board is when those Rakdos Returns tend to even turn on for Jund. In Game 1, they're not really a problem, so I can understand that. All right, Dave, well, you've still got one more round of Legacy to go.
Yep.
Thank you for joining us on the For Standard. Good luck.
Thank you.